All right, so what I'm going to do is, while we wait for Vaibhav to join us, let me begin the session and introduce myself and the company that I represent. Well, guys, my name is Varun. My name is Varun Jain, and I am the founder of Brighter Prep and the co-founder of Brighter Group. What we do is we help you identify the pathway to your dream college, your dream university, your dream destination, basically. And I keep saying, and I firmly believe in that from my own personal journey of identifying the right place to do master's degree, that productivity at any stage in our life, whether it's our college studies, it's our job, it's our passion, or it's our sport, it's never an accident. It's always our commitment. It's always intelligent planning, and it's always putting in the right efforts that are required to achieve a certain goal. And I think today, by attending this session, you all have started gathering the right information. Because before you decide where I should actually go and study after my undergraduate degree, after my bachelor's degree, you need to first find out what options do I have. And that's the biggest question which most of the undergraduate or bachelor's degree students have in mind, that where should I go? I keep hearing a lot of stories that, US is a great place to study if you get into a top university, but hey, why not consider going to Canada? And why not consider going to a place like Ireland, or say for that matter Germany, where I might not have to pay anything, and I can complete my master's degree. It's not about what the country has to offer. It's not about what the colleges have to offer, what the universities have in their bucket to offer. It is about what you want, first of all. So I would like all of you to take this session as, I would say, a database of information that will be provided to you. And you have to then figure out what works for me. So come up with your own Excel sheet. What do you want? I want to go and do a master's degree from a top possible university. That's my goal. No, I want to go to a place where I not only get education, but I also get immigration opportunities. I settle down. Hey, I have a limited budget, and I want to, apply to a college which would give me great financial help in terms of scholarships, research assistantships, and I want to do that. Hey, you know what? I'm an engineering student currently, but I don't like it at all. I don't want to be an engineer for the rest of my life. And what I want to do is basically get into consulting. I want to switch my industry. I want to get into private equity. I want to get into investment banking. I want to get into general management. So I want a program in a university which offers me all that. So you need to keep in mind that, first of all, for you to be guided properly, you need to know what you want out of your own career, out of your own future. So every place, whether it's Imperial College London, or it's Stanford, or it's University of Toronto, or it's University of Melbourne, or it's National University of Singapore, or NTU Singapore, where actually I studied, or it's HKUST Hong Kong, or it's ETH Zurich, they all are fantastic schools. They all are fantastic institutions which offer great education. I see Vaibhav has joined us. So Vaibhav, how are you doing? Vaibhav, are you there?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
Hey, very well, very well. Your voice is a bit light. We can't hear you clearly.
Uh, Wait a minute. I think there's a mic issue.
Still, you're not clearly audible, Vaibhav. I'll let you fix that. Should I continue for now, and then maybe you can join us in the middle? Yep. Thank you so much, Vaibhav.
How is it now?
All right, guys. Well, once again, very good evening to all of you, and I hope you all are keeping safe with COVID. I'm so glad that 2020 is off, is over, and 2021 has started. And people keep talking about whether it's going to be better than 2020 or not. But to me, I think it's a year of opportunities. It's a year of opportunities, not just outside, but also with what we have within us. So if you have managed to identify anything about yourself, even if it's a weakness, it's a good start, because you can overcome that weakness. All right, so let me show you something that probably you all have seen before. It's the world map. So guys, this is the canvas. Okay, so when I was probably in your situation, and when I was doing my bachelor's degree, uh, at each juncture, I had a lot of questions. Let's begin with high school. So after my 10th grade, I was like, which subjects to take? I was an above average student, good, I would say. And somebody was saying, hey, you know what? You can take commerce with mathematics, you can take science with math, you can take science with biology, or whatever. And I was really confused. So I ended up taking everything. I took physics, math, chemistry with biology and English. And I was like, let's see how it goes. I ended up doing my undergrad in economics, and then I realized, hey, you know what? Do I want to be an investment banker? I don't think I really enjoy it. I was a debater. I liked communicating with people, and I really, really enjoyed the process of shortlisting universities and colleges for myself. So during that time, over about 17 years ago, when I graduated from college, I was actually looking at all these countries that you see on your screen. So I was like, hey, should I go to University of Toronto? Should I go to Waterloo? Should I go to McMaster, which are great institutions in Ontario, which is a part of Canada? Or should I go to McGill, which is in Quebec, which is a French-speaking area? Or should I go to, University of Montreal? Or should I go to the other end of Canada and study in Vancouver and go to University of British Columbia or Simon Fraser? Or should I actually look at more industrial areas and go to University of Alberta, University of Saskatchewan? Where do I want to go? It's a beautiful country. It's a beautiful country with great personal as well as professional opportunities. See, master's degree is not compulsory. Remember that. Nobody's asking you to go for a master's degree. It's by choice. You already have a bachelor's degree. So when you're going to do a master's degree, make sure your reasons are not only academic, make sure your reasons are not only professional, but they're also personal. That's very, very important. So Canada is a place which comes with great education in relatively affordable price if we compare it with the US. At the same time, it gives great immigration opportunities to people. But if that fits into your plan, I think this country should go in your Excel sheet. And your Excel sheet then should have the names of universities, cost, etc. And we will get into the process of applying as well. Then comes the United States of America. I mean, a lot of us have this American dream of going to top universities in the US. I've had a great pleasure of visiting many of those campuses, so Stanford to Harvard to UPenn to Cornell, and working with students currently who actually are going to these top universities. Some of them are going for the masters in engineering type of courses, computer science. Some of them are switching from engineering to industrial engineering, engineering management. They want to get into consulting. There are some people who are completely moving towards doing something else, which is related to management. And there are some people who are really interested in their own specialization of undergrad and are applying for an integrated master's plus PhD program. So you see, US, apart from the Ivy Leagues and MITs and Caltech, they also offer an opportunity for you to pursue an integrated master's degree along with PhD. So it's one of the few countries where actually you don't need to have a master's degree to apply for a PhD program. All right. So if you have a great profile, if you have a great research exposure already at bachelor's degree, you can apply to top universities in the US as well. Let's move a little closer to where we are and look at the UK. Well, UK has mixed feelings. You see, in the US, you have 5,000 options, out of which you will find maybe top 100, top 200 as great options for yourself. In UK, whereas you have maybe about 150 to 200 options, out of which you might find 25 really suitable for yourself. So you might look at schools like Oxford and Cambridge, Imperial, UCL, and then the another belt, which could be University of Bath to Edinburgh to Exeter to other places. But the question which students had earlier, can I stay in the UK after I graduate? Well, that can be answered very beautifully now, which we will cover in the rest of the presentation today. Then we move a little closer. Then comes Ireland, which has become a very, very popular destination, the Silicon Valley of Europe. Excellent opportunities, affordable. We'll talk about that in detail. Moving a little further, Europe has many other options these days. So you want to go to Netherlands. Well, Rotterdam is a great city. You don't need to know German or Dutch to live in Rotterdam. It's a very, very multinational city where almost everybody speaks English. Great multinational companies are there to work, from engineering to computer science to even investment banking, private equity, consulting. So great place to live as well. Relatively more affordable. You could look at other countries. You could look at the Northern Europe, Scandinavian countries, Sweden, Finland. Those are also great options. Norway. Germany, well, very popular destination. Well, master's degree now can also be done in English language in Germany in some of the universities. You don't need to necessarily know German, but of course, if you pick up a little bit of German before you go, that would be a great idea. Eastern Europe is also actually pretty good these days. I mean, we know people even going to places like Czech Republic, to Romania, and Armenia and Georgia and Lithuania and Ukraine and whatnot. And then you come closer to where I'm sitting right now. I mean, even UAE for that matter is not a bad option. I mean, I'm currently in Dubai, and I think that offers great opportunities as well. There is New York University in Abu Dhabi, which actually offers great education. They have excellent master's and research programs, including PhD. There's Abu Dhabi University. There's Masdar Institute, which is actually completely based on sustainable energies, etc. So there are lots of great options available even here. We move a little further. Well, I spent many years in Singapore, and I think that's a fantastic place to study. So National University of Singapore, Nanyang Technological University. If you feel like I'm done with engineering and sciences now, and I want to move towards something, management and economics, even Singapore Management University offers some really good programs that might be suitable to help you reach your future goals. Then move to Hong Kong. I think great place again to study. HKUST, which is Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. That's a great option. Then we move towards Australia and New Zealand. Again, we combine it with the goal of immigration, great opportunity. So that's another great place. So guys, see, from NUS to HKUST to Stanford, Cambridge in the UK to Waterloo in Canada, to TU Delft, Zurich. I mean, you have so many options. Now it's not about what options you have, it's about what you want. Okay, so these are great engineering programs, but also once you're an engineering student, or once you're a computer science student or science student, you have two options. Your master's degree could be an add-on to your undergrad degree, or it could also be for something else. So you could do master's in management, you could do masters in say for example data sciences, analytics. You could do masters in engineering management. And at the same time, one thing I would like to highlight here today is that you could also apply for an MBA program, which is called a Deferred Entry MBA program in top business schools all over the world. What do I mean by deferred entry? That when you're in final year of your bachelor's degree, when you're in final year of your engineering or any sciences, or for that matter, BBA, whatever, you can apply for an MBA program starting 2 to 5 years later in one of the top schools. Let me give you an example. Let's say you see so many good schools here: Chicago Booth, which is one of the top schools, Harvard Business School, Stanford, MIT Sloan, Wharton, Columbia, Yale, Darden, which is University of Virginia, Kellogg. All these business schools have a deferred entry program. So when I'm in final year, I will send my application. Hey, I want to do MBA at your university. I'm graduating in 2021, but I will start my MBA in 2023 or 2024 or 2025. You have time, 2 to 5 years, whenever you want to start. And in next 2 years, these schools would guide you. And that offer letter that you receive, that will help you get awesome jobs internationally. So that's another way that, hey, you know what? I'm not sure if I want to do master's and MBA right now, but let me apply, let me get an offer letter, and I will start after 2 years or 3 years. And with that offer letter from a top school, I can actually get some amazing jobs. So that's another option available. So moving on, I keep focusing on the right fit. The right fit is if I get into Oxford and MIT, but at the same time I get into, say, National University of Singapore with 100% scholarship, and MIT and Oxford have not offered me any scholarships, then NUS becomes a better option for me because I can't afford to go to other places. I feel like, hey, half of my family lives in Canada and I want to get a citizenship of that country. Going to a Canadian university makes more sense for me. Hey, you know what? I don't have an amazing CGPA. I'm just barely reaching, say, about 6.5, 6, 7 in my undergraduate degree. I'm not getting like 8.5, 9, 9.5. I'm an above average student, but I still have aspiration. I'm pretty smart. I can learn on the job. I can perform really well. And I want to go to a decent university and I don't have a big budget. You can go to Europe. You can choose places like, Netherlands and Ireland, which offer great opportunities as well. So find the right fit for yourself, keeping every possible thing that matters to you: education, specialization, career opportunities, immigration opportunities, fee structures, scholarships, and your own profile. Okay, that matters a lot. Well, I want to share 4 different case studies with you, and then we get into the details of each of the countries. When I met Anupama, she actually graduated from BITS Pilani, and she's an electrical electronics engineer who enjoyed electrical electronics while she was studying, but she didn't quite enjoy her career within that industry. She was like, it was way too technical. I like the technical bit, but I don't want to be working in the technical field for the rest of my life. So she actually decided to apply for a master's program at Imperial College London, switching more towards engineering management so that she could become a consultant in future, or she wanted to get into maybe more of an engineering field, but not executing an engineering job, be in more of the management side. Suited her. Ananya, well, triple IT Hyderabad graduate, pretty bright girl, I must say. She studied computer science, but I won't mind saying that she hated it. She's like, I don't want to be a coder for the rest of my life. That's not what I want, but I'm good with numbers. I'm good at analytics. And she got into London Business School for Masters in Analytics. And currently, she works for one of the leading banks and financial institutions in their consulting arm in London. So that's a great switch that can happen. Deep was one of my students who actually studied biomedical science and chemical engineering. And he thought he wanted to be a doctor, but then he decided not to be a doctor. Then he was like, I thought I'll do chemical engineering, but I also want bio factor into it. Once he completed his undergrad degree, he was still undecided. He's like, I enjoy the field, but I'm not sure what I want to do. So Stanford had this beautiful program where they offered excellent scholarships to bright students. And he actually had excellent GPA. He managed to get into Stanford for his master's degree. And Elvin, when he went to bachelor's degree program, he realized that he wanted to study biomedical science, but then later on, he realized I'm also very good in math. Let me do specialization in math. And then later on, he realized that, hey, you know what? I also like computer science. And he actually ended up doing literally triple specializations. And currently, he's actually going to Berkeley in the US. So these are a few cases. There are many more. I guess there are 40, 50 candidates today who are actually listening, to what I'm talking about. And I'm sure there'll be another 40, 50 cases in your own college, and you all will have your own story. So again, focus on what is the right fit for you. Okay, moving on. How to get into a college, how to get into a good college, or how to get into a college which is suitable for me for my master's degree. All right. So when you want to apply to universities, they look at your overall profile. They look at, hey, how have you done? You want to show that you're a disciplined guy, right? You want to show that you've been disciplined throughout your high school and undergraduate degree. So your GPA, your CGPA does matter a lot. All right. But well, some of us, when we get into college in first year, we don't do well. Some of us do well because I have a lot of freedom. I have friends. I'm going out. I didn't pay attention to a few things. I couldn't cope up with the teaching style in my college. So at that time, your grades might drop. But then you also have standardized tests, such as the GRE and the GMAT, to show that, hey, although I didn't do as well during my undergraduate degree or my bachelor's degree, or my GPA is not that good, but I'm not dumb. I'm smart. I can get a decent score. I have good analytical skills, right? And that's when you take the standardized tests like the GRE, GMAT. Now, you might have a question, hey, do I need to take GRE, GMAT to apply to all the universities, all the countries? That's not true as well. You might have to take it for some universities and countries, and you might not need it for some universities and countries. But remember one thing, if somebody says that GMAT and GRE are only required to get into US universities, that's wrong. These are very, very global exams and they are accepted by universities globally. So even for example, if you're applying to a university, say in London, you apply to Imperial College London or University College London, or if you're applying to ETH Zurich, or if you're applying to London Business School for a Masters in Analytics program, if you're applying to University of Toronto or National University of Singapore, they all accept GRE and GMAT, and it really does enhance your application if you have a high score in those tests. All right. Other than that, if you're actually studying in India, you might have to take also the English language proficiency test, which would be IELTS or TOEFL. And that can be, of course, spoken about depending on which country you're applying to. Your overall profile matters a lot. I mean, what Vaibhav is doing for your college is fantastic. I mean, he is into a leadership position. Or if you're a part of, triple IE or any other organization, if you're actually taking on a few internships, if you're taking on a few online courses outside your college curriculum, if you have actually launched your own app, if you actually do some cool stuff in analytics with another organization, if you're actually a football player, anything that you do outside your classroom also adds on to your application. And then come the recommendation letters, which is also an indispensable part of your application when you're applying to universities for master's degree. So these recommendation letters could be written by your professors, they could be written by your research paper or internship head, your internship supervisor. So all these people can actually write recommendation letters for you when you're applying to universities for a master's degree. So this is the overall profile of a student. Now let's get into countries. United States of America, well, great place to study. We've spoken about it. See, US does not only have Harvard, Stanford, Columbia, UPenn, MIT, Caltech, Berkeley. They also have other good universities. So you need to go by location. Let's say, why not go to Minneapolis? Very good place. University of Minnesota Twin Cities. Very, very nice university. I think the city itself has maybe about 8 to 10 different Fortune 500 companies. Why not? I go there, I graduate, I get a great job in those companies. Why not go to, say, North Carolina, Chapel Hill? That's a fantastic place to study. Why not I go to Texas A&M, TAMU, College Station, which is not very far from Houston, and Houston is a great place, great opportunities for almost all the industries actually. Why not I go to Texas Austin, which is an upcoming Silicon Valley as well, great startup culture, I could go there. Why not I go to Washington, Seattle? Well, University of Washington, Seattle, there are not many universities there, and I could possibly work for Amazon, or I could get into Microsoft, or I could get into Uber. I mean, all of them have their headquarters there at the end of the day. So the location of your college also matters a lot, not just the name. So when you're doing a master's degree, you need to again figure out a place. I know somebody who was from Ludhiana, and he decided to apply for a master's cum PhD program in the US. And he was very clear that I cannot afford to pay even $1, but I want to go to America. So what was required in that case? Great GRE score, some 1 or 2 internships, 1 research paper, little bit of a story around what kind of research you would be interested in, and applications to about 10 to 12 colleges. He's currently studying in one of the state universities in the US, and I think he's now leading towards his 3rd year. He's an integrated PhD student, which I think would take about 4.5 to 5 years, fully paid by the university, plus he gets about $2,500 monthly stipend, which is good enough for him to take care of his living expenses. So that is possible. And when somebody comes like Marwa and she says that, what, I'm in a great space, I want to get into a top university, get me a good score. And she got into Harvard, she got into Duke, which is a fantastic school, and Northwestern University in Chicago. Again, I'm stressing out, and this is very, very important from my personal experience and experience of working with over 15,000 students in past several years, that it's all about finding what you want. Then comes Canada. Well, I think it's becoming a very, very popular destination because of their amazing immigration opportunities. At the same time, quality education. So if you look at only Ontario, the state, which of course has Toronto as well, uh, even within Toronto, you'll find, apart from University of Toronto, you look at Ryerson is there, there's York, and close by area, if you see, there's Waterloo, there's McMaster, there's University of Ottawa, there is Weston, there's Queen's, there's Brock, there's Carleton, there's Guelph, there's Wilfrid Laurier. So, there are so many universities. And especially when you're doing master's program, the classes are much smaller. They're more specialized. So if you do well in your studies, you can easily find great job opportunities. And if you see here, I have my expert counselor with me, Varun Iyer, who actually might be able to answer any questions that you would have related to the immigration and how many years of visa that you get. So, Iyer, if we actually do a 2 years master's degree in Canada, how many years can I stay there after that?
So in Canada, any international students who complete their 2 years of master's course, they can get post-study work visa up to 3 years,
Okay.
which allows them to search for the job opportunities leading to permanent residency in future.
Okay, fantastic. So you see, normally once you graduate, you get about 3 years to stay there, but normally it doesn't take you 3 years to find a job. So if you find a job even before you graduate, because there are some of the programs that are co-op programs, so the job is part of your program. And in about 6 to 8 months, you become a PR after you graduate. And in about 3 years time, you get your citizenship as well. So it's a great place to, work and study. Then the UK, well, now UK has also come up with a post-study work visa. So after you graduate with your master's degree, and master's degree in the UK is mostly 1 year to 15 months to 18 months, depending on which university you're going to, you will definitely get 2 years post-study work visa. Again, excellent options, as I said. I mean, Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial, UCL, you know those names, but there are other good universities like Loughborough, University of Manchester, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Belfast, Leicester, Lancaster, Exeter, Kiel. They're all fantastic. Southampton, they're very, very good universities. They are actually investing a lot of money in research now to, and you might actually get some scholarships. It is challenging to get scholarships in this country, but some are possible. Well, Australia, again, uh, different continent altogether, but I would say beautiful place. Great cities. From Melbourne to Sydney, they have great universities. UNSW, which is University of New South Wales in Sydney, to University of Sydney, University of Western Sydney, to University of Melbourne, to Queensland, to Adelaide, to more easier institution, I would say RMIT, to Latrobe. You can find several options. If you want to make your career into I would say capital intensive industries. You want to get into energy sector, you want to get into manufacturing sector, you want to get into infrastructure development kind of a sector. I think Australia has great opportunities, and at the same time, it is a great place now for data sciences, startup, etc. as well. Ireland actually, I think, is a great place now, upcoming. Within just about 10 to 12,000, 15,000 euros, you can actually complete your master's degree. They also give you 2 years post-study work visa. So that's great. There are over 1,500 plus tech firms right now just in Dublin. That's a great place for people who are interested into cybersecurity. If you're interested into, data sciences, data analytics, great opportunities in this country. And then other than that, Iyer, I'd like you to name a few countries which you think are good to pursue master's degree for candidates going from India.
Yeah, I feel that students, they can also look for the countries like New Zealand, because New Zealand is also a small country like Ireland, and geographically it is located and it's neighboring country of Australia. So any person who has a PR, like permanent residency of New Zealand, they can indefinitely travel and work without any work permit in Australia. Just like that, Germany is also one of the best destination to go for Indian students for master's course. It's because many students are aware, I think, but just to remind them again that Germany has public state universities; those are funded universities, and out of 16 states, there are 11 states in Germany who offer tuition-free courses. So there are many master's program which you can find which is taught in 100% English language, and you can also find those universities where you don't need to pay a tuition fee. So when I say that there is no tuition fee, it's not that it's 100% free, but it's like you have to just pay some contribution fee of like 200, 300 euros per semester. So that is negligible. So that is also a
Yeah.
very good destination. And in Germany, you get post-study work visa of up to 18 months.
Well, fantastic add-ons, Varun, again. So, yeah, New Zealand is a great place. Germany is fantastic. And as I said, you can look at some, I would like to use the word exotic locations like Israel. I think that's a great place to study now, upcoming country, very, very innovative. You could look at Japan. You could look at Korea. You could look at places like Malaysia, even for that matter, Thailand, many other European countries, which are actually promoting the startup culture, like Bulgaria and Romania and Ukraine. Again, find out what you want and what is the best for you. Some of you might have uh, this desire to travel, and you might want to choose your university based on that. And I must tell you, I'd like to share a story of one of my students from Bombay who ended up going to study in France, and then he also got a job with one of the top consulting firms in London. During his time in Europe, he actually traveled to many places, so every time over the weekend, and he developed this interest for fruit based tea. Everywhere he went, he just tried different types of tea, in hotel and in restaurants. And he was like, wow, this is amazing. It's healthy and it's like as good as having coffee or chai. And he decided to quit his amazing consulting job, and he went back to Bombay about 5 years ago, and he started his own interesting fruit based tea and coffee company, which he actually just about 6 7 weeks ago sold in multi million dollars to one of the large Wadia groups in India. So you see, the education is not about just the education within the four walls of the classrooms and the university. It's also about the experiences that you will gain while living there, while traveling there. So again, each of you will have your own dreams, desires, strengths, weaknesses. So evaluate that and decide. Okay, coming back to our pie chart. So we need to work on these things, you see. So first of all, you have to look at how's the situation. Are you in third year? Are you in fourth year right now? Are you graduating? What's my CGPA? What's my GPA? Am I standing at 8 out of 10, 8.5, 6.5? Figure that out. And then let's look at standardized test. Where am I applying? Once you decide which universities, which kind of colleges, which kind of programs you're looking at, Varun Iyer, Sushant, and I, we can guide you whether GMAT would be suitable for you, or let's take GRE, or I might not need both of them because I'm not applying to those kind of countries and programs. I might just need IELTS or TOEFL. If you don't know enough about these tests, we can actually arrange a free diagnostic test for you. So come over and take the diagnostic tests, and that can also be arranged online. In terms of your profile, don't worry about it. If you think you don't have a very impressive CV right now, let's have a one-to-one session, and I'd be more than happy to guide you how you can develop your CV by adding 1 or 2 internships quickly, by doing a couple of online courses, by actually being a part of international virtual clubs, which you can be part of, and you can definitely mention where you can get a lot of leadership positions. Let's start working on recommendation letters from now on. Hey, professors and supervisors can be very busy. They might not have time to write it for you. So you need to make their life easier. Come up with bullet points, come up with brag sheet, come up with the drafts for them if need be, and if they are comfortable with that. All right. Well, after that, another important part of this whole process would be to look at the entire timeline. See, timeline is very important. You might miss deadlines, right? So it's very important once you decide which countries you're interested in, which programs you're interested in. So those who are graduating from college this year, like in next few months, and if you're planning to go in August, I mean, guys, you're late, a little late for a few countries. Those who are applying for next year, if you're in third year right now and you're graduating next year around May, June of 2022, it means you can apply for August, which is fall intake. All right. So it depends. Each college will have its own application, and application will have all those things which we spoke about. Deadlines. See, US schools and Canadian schools have much earlier deadlines. Normally their deadlines are late November, early December. So if you're applying for 2020, let's take an example. Let's say if you're in third year and if you're applying for 2022 intake, all right, in that case I should be done with everything by 2021 of November. All right. In case if you're applying for this year 2021, then we need to figure out which all countries we can apply to, and based on that we need to start doing your applications. Some colleges reply very quickly within about 3-4 weeks time, and some might take up to 3 months to reply depending on when you have sent your application. By 1st of May this year you will actually have to finish paying the deposit, and then you apply for your visa. We help you extensively with that as well, and move on. So these are the tests as we spoke about. Well, if you're applying for master's degree, even if you're applying for masters in analytics, masters in management, most of the universities now accept GRE. So you can take GRE. GRE is out of 170 quantitative, which is math, and 170 verbal. Definitely go ahead and take the test. It's valid for 5 years, guys. So even if you're not applying this year or next year, it's okay. The scores are valid, even if you can end up using it for your MBA, because a lot of MBA programs now accept GRE. All right. GMAT is out of 800 points. Again, it has quant, verbal. It also has a writing section and integrated reasoning section. GRE also has a writing section. Then comes IELTS, which is an English language test. Your scoring is out of 9 points. Reading, writing, speaking, listening. I would ideally recommend you to target for a 7 out of 9 with no less than a 6.5 in each section of the test. TOEFL is out of 120 points, which means 30 times 4. 30 for each section. That would include reading, writing, speaking, listening. I would say focus on getting 105 out of 120, at least 100 plus, with minimum 25 in each section. Absolutely doable. Again, contact the team at Brighter and go to university to get access to the diagnostic test. Well, you need to tell them your story. You need to tell the colleges and the admissions committee who you are, what are your goals, and why do you want to study there. And these are the essays, and the word that is normally used is personal statement, or SOP, which is statement of purpose. That's where you tell them your story. Hey, this is who I am. This is what I have done. These are my goals. These are my short-term goals, long-term goals, my accomplishments, my internship experiences, and why I want to study at your university. When you're applying for engineering related master's degrees, computer science related master's degrees, mostly you have to write a personal statement. But when you're applying for management related programs, and especially to the business schools of the universities, so university has an engineering school and it also has a business school. So if you're applying to business schools, they will have more specific essay questions, which could be, what are your short and long-term goals? Which could be, discuss an incident of your life which taught you something, a failure, an accomplishment, So these kind of questions can be asked when you're applying to colleges. And we as a team extensively help you brainstorm and help you draft and craft and write those essays. So yeah, do contact the team for that. Recommendation letters, again, it's easy to decide that I'm going to apply to 12 or 15 colleges across 3 countries and I'm going to create options. But guys, you need to make sure your professors, your supervisors are willing to submit all the recommendation letters for you. So plan in advance so that you can get all those things done and make sure they submit them in time. All right. And some of the universities, especially if you're applying to business schools, will definitely have interviews. For masters in engineering, normally interviews are not that common. In Canada, there are virtual interviews, video interviews that you might have to go over. We'll extensively prep you for that as well. Well, should you work with a counselor or a tutor? It's up to you. If you think you're diligent, if you're disciplined, and you can sit down and actually do this entire research about things that we have spoken about, well, I think you should do it on your own, like I did, or like Varun here did. Okay, but we are here to share our knowledge with you. So please do let us know if you need Any help? At Brighter, we help you prepare for different standardized tests like the GMAT, GRE, IELTS, and TOEFL. So if you need any preparatory course, we're more than happy to help you with that. If you need any help with the admission process in terms of deciding where to begin, literally from bottom line, I don't know what I want. So we can begin from there, talk about countries, talk about courses, talk about universities, talk about then the process, and then put you on that process and help you reach where you want to be. All right. Well, this is it from my end. I'm going to share the contact details of my team with you, and you can definitely get in touch with us. All right, let's take on a few questions before we move on, and I'm going to show you a slide with our Delhi team's contact details. So Varun Iyer and Sushant Arora would be there to help you out. Take a screenshot of this slide to contact both of them. We are in Connaught Place, Delhi. Well, again, it doesn't matter these days. Things are happening. A lot of things are happening very effectively virtually. So we'll be there to help you out at every moment. Now, I will ask our organizer for the day, Mr. Webber, to appear and tell me if he has any questions or anything that he would like me to answer for students. Webber?
I think certain students have asked the questions in Q&A section. We shall proceed with them first.
Sure. Great. Let me take those questions one by one. Right. So explain the financial background and economical stability. Well, that's a very open-ended question. So I am not very clear, but let me answer it based on my understanding. And to the anonymous attendee, I would request if you can actually clarify and elaborate on this question. See, when you're applying to universities, they do not care as much about your economic standing. But when you're applying for visa, you will definitely have to show that you are capable of supporting yourself and your expenses while pursuing your program, whether it's 1 year or 2 years at the university. So you will have to show bank statements of your sponsor. That could be one of your parents or anyone else. And we need to show that. But yes, if you have received scholarship, then scholarship letter from the university would be good enough. And if you think you're going to take some bank loans, a bank loan approval letter would also be enough when you're applying for visas. We have a question from Mr. Tyagi. Sir, I have heard Canada lacks opportunities for IT industry. How true is that? Mr. Tyagi, see, IT is broad. Are we talking about cybersecurity? Are we talking about e-commerce? Are we talking about financial technology? Well, Canada is a big country with great opportunities. Canada has Amazon. Canada will have Tesla. Canada has all the premium banks. So fintech is there, investment banking is there, infrastructure development is there, oil and gas is there, everything is there. And IT or IoT or digitization is an important part of each and every industry these days. All right. So does any country for that matter lack opportunity? It's a wrong statement. All right. So definitely Canada does not, Bahrain does not, Kenya does not, Nigeria does not, and India does not. All right. It has great opportunities. I think it depends on which university you graduate from, what kind of internships you do, and then what kind of jobs you get. Moving on. How is Israel for masters? Well, again, I would never say how is India for masters, how is Singapore for masters. It's about how is a particular university for masters. And that's again an open-ended question. We need to compare A with B. Is A better for me or B better for me? Israel is a great place to study. I'm in Tel Aviv. Log on to one of the amazing trading platform called eToro, for example. It's Israeli platform, and it gives you great access to the opportunity to invest in cryptocurrencies, which are going up and down these days, from bitcoins to some other different coins, and they are doing really well. And that's an organization which is run by tech guys to non-tech guys to finance guys. So Israel for masters is good. Canada for masters is very good. Ireland for masters is also very good. We have a question from Mr. Nair. Would you prefer masters immediately after bachelor's, or should I work for some years? Nipun, it's a very very personal question again. Depends on what you want, right? So if you think that I need to move out of India currently because that fits into my career goals, go ahead and do a master's degree in your specialized field. Go ahead and do a master's degree which helps you switch your industry. So, for example, you're an engineer right now and you feel like I don't want to pursue engineering anymore. You can do a master's in management, master's in analytics, or anything else, and switch your industry as well. Personally, I actually worked for a few years before I did my master's degree, and it helped me identify what I wanted. But I have many friends who actually, and many students who don't uh, work after their bachelor's degree, and they directly go for masters. So Nipun, it's completely up to you, uh, and we can have a one-on-one on that. Right, then. What are some countries with good immigration opportunities for parents also? Well, I'd say, see, if once you become a citizen of a country, then the opportunities for parents are better, uh, not necessarily when you are PR. Which, all right, there is a question. If we want to go to Pakistan, definitely yes. I mean, we can definitely help you apply to universities in Pakistan, and you can apply for visa as well. And let's see if you get the visa. All right. Which country has the best culture in the field of software engineering and data analytics? Very open-ended question again. I don't think it's the country. I think it's the organization. I mean, none of the countries are, I would say, perfect. I think it's the organization that you work for. And I think, Mr. Singh, you should focus on maybe starting one of your own in the country that you would like to go to. But very open-ended question. I think opportunities are everywhere right now. You will find in a bigger country, there are more opportunities. In a relatively smaller country, proportionately, there'll be less opportunities as well. Now, moving on, I'm first year student and doesn't have good resume. Could you tell what should I do to increase my resume? Well, I think that's a very valid question. Well, you're a first year student, that's a good thing. So it's okay not to have a resume. So you have time to build it. I wish you had a name because you don't here. I will give you a name. So let's say your name is Tom. So I'll refer to you as Tom. So Tom, to develop your resume, number one, I think you should definitely have 2 to 3 internships. Don't look for like awesome names. You don't have to go and work for L&T and Infosys and TCS. All right, it's okay if you don't get that. You can work for smaller organization. You can work for startup. Show variety in your CV. That I work for a bigger organization, I work for a smaller organization, because in small organizations, you might end up actually learning more because you are doing a lot of hands-on work. Okay, so show that startup attitude as well. Secondly, do take up a few courses outside your college curriculum. All right, so that's very, very important. Sign up for some online courses on edX, Coursera, etc. Develop your skill set. I think versatility is very important. So if you are a particular type of an engineer, learning coding could be great, or learning a little bit of management or analytics could be great. So bring that variety to your profile. Showing leadership skills and multiple interests would actually make your profile interesting. So take up some leadership role. You don't have to become a president of your college. It's not important. Follow your passion. If you're interested in speaking, do something related to that. If you're good at mentoring people, let's say you're good in math, start teaching people math for free. Do some volunteering work. Start mentoring people. That's okay. Maybe you're interested in a particular type of coding. Start teaching high school kids coding. Like any type of skill that shows that you know how to communicate with people, how you have good interpersonal skills, and that will be an awesome one-page CV. 2, 3 internships, you have 2, 3 online courses, your undergraduate degree programs, and 3, 4 leadership roles and extracurricular activities. One-page solid CV, and each activity will have an interesting story to talk about to build your personal statement. So it's actually pretty easy and it'll be fun. Okay, how much education loan should we take practically? All right, so anonymous, I would say practically 0. Loans are not good. Okay, so debt is not good. Secondly, uh, if I don't take loan, what do I do? My parents should pay. Of course, if they have, they will. If they don't, and if they can't, then I'll have to work hard to get scholarship. But if I don't have both the options, then of course I have to take some financial help from the banks. That's loan. But it has to be a calculated risk, and that's what you need to do. What are you investing, and what is your return on investment in terms of time and the risk that you're taking? Very open-ended question. Let's take it in one-on-one meeting. How much time does it take on average to get citizenship in Canada after pursuing masters in Canada? I would say approximately uh, once you get uh, once you graduate, you take PR, and I think you should be there for at least 3 years, and then you apply for citizenship. So it could take you anything between 4 and 5 years to get your citizenship in Canada. All right. As you had said that universities see what course you have done except from college degree, could you tell the name for site which the universities consider? Hey, it's not the website, it's the course that you do. So you could actually do a lot of summer courses from US universities, UK universities, Canadian universities. You could actually even log on to Coursera and sign up for certain courses, EDX, LinkedIn, from anywhere actually. How do financial conditions and family income matter while applying for grants and financial aids? Well, honestly, it doesn't, because you're an international student. Everything is based on merit-based. So merit-based scholarship, it's not a need-based scholarship, all right? So whether you're doing really well financially or you're not, it would not impact the admissions committee much in taking the decision how much scholarship you should be given. How would you recommend we figure out what we want to do forward in life, or even if we do have a vague idea of what we want, how do we know that is something we can handle? I think it's a good question, and I'll go back to people should start doing internships at a very early stage in life. It's about getting exposure. It's about going out and seeing what a mechanical engineer does, what an electrical engineer does, what a computer science graduate do, uh, uh, and what people who are engineers and now not doing engineering jobs, what do they do, what a banker does. So it's all about getting exposed, and that's the best way of figuring out what you like at this moment in your life, because it might change in future based on the exposure again. All right, that's number one. Two, I think you can start interviewing people, start stalking people on LinkedIn. I mean, stalking is the wrong word. Start following people on LinkedIn, see their career progression, who you like. All right, read their profile, write to those people, read about their organizations that they have worked for, interview them for 60 minutes. But before interview, make sure you are prepared to ask right questions, because if you don't have right question, nobody can help you. All right, so your research helps you in becoming better at asking questions, and if you have right questions, you will get right answers from people, and they will be able to help you hopefully identify what is the right thing, right career for you to pursue at this moment. Remember, what you choose right now might not be the same in 10, 20 years time. So don't think that long term. It's good enough for now. Okay, I'll take a couple of more questions, and then we should finish the session for today. All right. Okay. Do the Coursera and Udemy certificates help, or it's the skills which are important? Well, definitely, Ujjwal, it's the skill that's more important, but you need to know how to show that skill. So don't learn it. If you know it, start a club. If you know it, launch your own app. If you know it, do an internship. You need to have a way to show the skill. All right. Or maybe if you don't want to do those courses, you can launch your own course on LinkedIn or Udemy, right? You're allowed to do that. Come up with your own course and you can start delivering it. I wanted to ask, does a year of experience after undergraduation in a tech job helps one's application greatly for MS? Ideal time to give the GRE? Thank you. Well, ideal time to give the GRE, I would say start working on it from the end of second year and finish it by the end of third year, okay? So that you have an option to apply while you're in fourth year, and it's valid for 5 years anyways, right? So that's, I would say, is the ideal time. Now, working for 1 year after the undergraduate degree, it completely depends. You can work for 1 year, you can also work for 2 years, but listen, If you're applying to the US and if you're working for 1 year, what will happen is I graduate in 2021, this year. I start working, let's say in July, August. I'm submitting my applications in November already. So I'm applying with 3, 4 months of experience, showing that I'm working right now and I will keep working till July next year before I go to the university in August. All right. So that's 1 year. So to me, better would be that I start working in July this year, work till August, September next year, and apply at that time. So I already have one leading to two by the time I'm going to university. So you can actually talk more about what you do, what's your job, what are your accomplishment in this job, because you might not have. I mean, you'll be more like a trainee in first few months, right? So that is what I would say. Well, great, Vaibhav. I have taken as many questions as I can. I don't think, is there anything specific that you would like me to um,
Yeah,
cover?
there's a question in the chat section that what kind of questions will be faced in an interview
Okay.
while applying for admission for MS.
So see, if you're applying for a master's degree, which is more towards engineering and sciences, you might not have any interviews for that. But if you're applying for a master's, which is more related to management, etc., then yes, questions are more related to introducing yourself. What are your short and long-term goals? How this program would help you achieve your goals? Why do you think this is the right university? How will you contribute to your classroom? What skill sets do you bring? You need to also have few story-based questions such as an accomplishment, a leadership, a failure, and what questions you have for me. Now, whatever I said, let's put it in a framework. Whenever you're appearing for any university related interview, there are 5 areas in which you need to prepare. Number one, who are you? Right? So make sure you have a decent introduction ready. And that who are you could be tell me about yourself, tell me about your academic experiences, run me through your CV. This question can be asked in a different way, but just introduce yourself. That's one criteria. Second, who do you want to be, right? What is your short term goal? What is your long term goal? What have you done so far to achieve those goals? Why do you have these goals? Do you have any stories and reasons behind it? Give examples of your internships or the courses that you have done, something that you like or something that you dislike, right? Third, why us? Why this university? Why this program? So you need to make sure that you have done a thorough research on that university, city, the program, within the program, electives, core curriculum, how they teach, their teaching pedagogy, case-based study, practicals, their network, professors, research opportunities, job opportunities, all those things. That's the third criteria. You need to know the school and the program really well and how it fits into your plan. Fourth, um, which I was talking about earlier as well, it's about stories. So you need to have 3, 4 stories. Stories means examples. Are you a leader? Something related to that. Anything positive, leadership, accomplishment. So one example of that. One negative, weakness or failure. What did you learn from it? A lot of universities are quite interested in building a group of people who bring cultural diversity. So anything related to diversity, that experience and story would be good. Last but not the least, the fifth would be what questions do you have for them? That's very important. So be prepared to ask 2 or 3. I don't want to use the word intelligent questions, but avoid asking any foolish questions. I mean, don't ask about questions that you can find answers for very easily online. So ask something which you think that person can answer. So these are the 5 main areas which you have to keep in mind when you're prepping for an interview conducted by a university. All right. Great. Well, Vaibhav, once again, thank you so much for allowing us to share our passion with your classmates and fellow colleagues. Uh, Anything else, Vaibhav, that you would like us to do? I'd like to share with each one of you that we would be more than happy to conduct more sessions which are more focused for your specializations or the countries that you're looking at. So we're more than happy to arrange a masterclass or an experience for GMAT, GRE. If you want a very country specific or a very specialization specific session, do let us know and we'll be there to help you out. Webber.
I think that will be all from our side. Also, I would like to thank you from the side of IEEE BPIT for giving such an informative webinar and guiding us through.
Thank you so much, Vaibhav. Brilliant, guys. Have a great evening. And I would like to repeat what I had written on my first slide. Productivity is never an accident, it's always a result of intelligent planning, focused efforts. All right. So start evaluating, enjoy your life, have all the fun. At the same time, keep asking yourself, what do I want next? And based on that, let's start planning your career. And we at Brighter Group are here to help you out. Well, please do call Varun Iyer or Sushant Arora to take an appointment, and we'd be more than happy to have a one-on-one meeting with you to help you guide to reach your goals. Thank you so much. Stay safe and have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.